We're live again.
Yes, we're live.
We're still live.
We're in Summerdale. We are safely still out of the cone. But it was a very long night for our poor boat. Why not?
I think you stayed up all night.
I could not sleep, so I just sat up all night watching and refreshing weather feeds and watching our live camera, our security camera, which was on board, which we had remote access to watch the security camera aboard. Why not? But all night long, the power went out on the dock early on, and so it was just pitch black outside, but you could hear the howling.
The howling of the winds and
the creaks of the ropes and snaps and crashes and things falling and banging, and it was actually some pretty terrifying noises all night long.
Oh, I think what was more terrifying was around 2 a.m. There was a boat in, I think it was
later than 2 a.m. It was like close to 4, I think.
Was it 4?
Yeah.
It seemed like it went on for hours. There was a boat that broke free from, I guess, a mooring ball and speared another boat.
Yeah, so what I did is when I left the security camera going, yeah. I left our portable VHF turned on so we could hear channel 16, which is the emergency channel, and so we could listen in. And there was basically no traffic all night until around 4 a.m. and I could only hear the Coast Guard side of the conversation, and it was just this harrowing, and I've got some recordings of it, but it was just harrowing to hear. This person was reporting that some other boat had they were riding out the storm on their boat, and some other boat had broken free, crashed into them, and they were now damaged and taking on water, and apparently he had no flotation devices on board.
Or at the moment. We don't know if he
we
didn't have
don't
any,
know
or
if they lost. Because I could only hear the Coast Guard side, but it basically came down to the Coast Guard telling him there was no rescue possible, and he should try and find something. They're saying, do you have a cooler on board? Do you have a fender on board? Do you have anything that floats?
So you can get to land.
And then you could just try and swim in the hurricane
I mean,
to land.
I can only imagine the waves.
Oh my goodness! And so this was in the pitch black. I'm listening to this voice of the Coast Guard woman telling this guy what to do, trying to explain to him that he's really in trouble. And it was just, and then later on, then I guess he disappeared, and the Coast Guard just kept calling him. It's like calling curmudgeon, and he no more answers, and so don't know what happened.
So our security camera kept going until best we guess about 8:30. We think the cellular towers went down.
Yeah, we know the cellular.
Mm-hmm.
So as the sun came up, we were able to start to see things outside, and we were seeing trees and docks and waves crashing over the Burdines fuel dock and the boat next to us bouncing around, but Why Not was holding strong. There's so you want to hold this?
This is going to be kind of meta. This is some video we took from our security camera on our iPad.
We'll find a better way to share this at some point, but it's hard to see the backgrounds. Yeah. But there it is. Some of it.
You see the curtain swinging, and
so
this is from about 7:30 this morning.
And with the camera on top of a camera thing, you can't really quite see the waves crashing and the noises and
the noises. So we think the cell towers we were broadcasting, or we left an AT&T Unite Explorer hotspot behind because it's the most weatherproof of all the hotspots we had, and everything was still looking good.
The boat was intact. No windows had smashed. There's enough gaps in the windows that the curtains inside were blowing around, but it was crazy, and the noises and stuff. But then the cell towers went down and basically confirmed that the few other people who were doing any sort of communications.
There's a lot of webcams going last night.
Well, there was none left. There's a guy who was on a boat in Key West who was also doing some live Facebook Live stuff, and all communication with the Keys went down, and this was right when the eye wall was going through.
Well, it just makes sense because that's the worst part. The eye wall,
something mile winds.
So the eye wall. I mean, we're listening on the news this morning. The eye wall. They're describing it as the 7 Mile Bridge being kind of where the eye wall was skirting.
That's right out our window.
We were walking distance of the 7 Mile Bridge.
Right.
And apparently, the sheriff just made a statement about 15 minutes ago that Marathon took the brunt of it.
Yeah. So there's been no communication with the Keys since 8:30 this morning. Everything has been cut off, and so we've just been literally pacing back and forth trying to find any news online, and it's just nobody has information. There's a big group of 6,000 people from Marathon on Facebook, and everybody's just swapping the same little bits of rumors back and forth. And finally the police chief came on and gave kind of a statement saying that Marathon has borne the brunt of it. The storm surge is finally starting to recede. People, houses are completely underwater. And
so the outcome for one night. So we know at 8:30 this morning she was still okay, but that was before the storm surge. That was before the eye wall went over. So the thing that would have to happen for her to survive this would be the brunt of the winds coming in. All the lines holding. We have no clue how the lines were doing, and then the storm surge itself. So when the water level this morning was already up at least 6 feet from when we left the boat, because the water was 6 feet down from the docks, and it was up right at dock level.
And the fire chief the police chief also in a statement said that boaters should not try to return to the Keys because there are hundreds, if not thousands, of boats adrift that have been broken free and are adrift right now.
So that is one risk: is the lines could all snap at some point. The lines, and they hit each other, they chafe, and as many chafe guards as you put on, you can't predict at what angles lines are going to hit each other. And when they're banging against the pass, they heat up and they melt. And
we saw the pylons were bending and stuff, and the dock next to us, we could see the whole top of the dock was falling apart. So it was a rough night, and we don't know what the state of anything is in Marathon right now.
So assuming all the lines held, the pilings held, the docks held, these are all big ifs. The storm surge that came in, the trailer park that was nearby, they said that it was up near the roof line. So that would mean Wyandotte would have been...
It'd be close call.
It would be 10 feet or so above the docks at that point, and we think we left our lines long enough to handle that. So that could have snapped the lines. And then when the water recedes, it comes down, and you hope it doesn't come down and get impaled on a piling. So there's still a lot of ifs. And we don't know.
And so we're waiting for word there, and everybody. So we're waiting for word on our second house, but there's so many people in Marathon, and it's heartbreaking, who are waiting for word to see if their loved ones made it. Like this guy on the boat last night that we heard.
Oh gosh, businesses
and people who have their only home is now. We managed to get most of our belongings, and we've got our bus here, so we are safe. We've got a house. Many people are losing everything right now, which is just heartbreaking.
Our mobility and our nomadic status, and yes, we went through there was a chance doing Florida and hurricane season in a boat that we just bought. That was a risk, but given the hurricane history in the last 10 years, it seemed like it was a minimal risk at the time. Obviously, we gambled wrong there.
Yes, this is a hurricane for the record books.
Hurricane season for the hurricane. We're not even to peak season yet, but that we still have the bus, and we had it within shooting range and could get out, and that backup plan was there. We're blessed. We are going to be... And RVers that escaped are going to be far ahead of those that are in the path now. We're now watching the storm go up the west coast, hitting Naples, Cape Romano, Marco Island.
All these places we'd just been through and fell in love with are now getting... and actually it's kind of frightening, because we just watched on TV Naples, the eye wall go through Naples, and it's ridiculously windstorm, but now the storm surge is coming several hours later, and that's when the real damage is going to come. And they're saying there might be 12 or 15 feet of water in downtown Naples. And Fort Myers, the marina we loved, Legacy Harbor Marina,
Anderson Cooper was reporting from there last night. That's
which is a bad sign. But the river drained. We actually saw some footage on the local Fort Myers TV station we managed to get online. And the river is just basically been draining out, and so now when the surge comes around, the river's turned dry, and we've got friends who've got boats there, and now suddenly the water's going to be coming back, and how high is that going to go? And this is really scary, and they're in for a long night now. Marathon's past it. Now they're waiting for the National Guard, and apparently C-130s will be coming in tomorrow to the airport. They're going to try and clear their runways and get some relief going, but...
It's tough, and then we're starting to get reports out of the islands, St. John, which is where we lived in 2010 for 6 months. Oh, and then St. Martin. Hearing of gangs and looting, and you know, these people are trapped on the islands. They did not have an evacuation route unless they could get their boats out of there in time. Unlike us and the people in the Keys had that option. It's sad.
And I do see this with the coverage is like the coverage of the United States seems to be skipping over Puerto Rico and the U.S. Virgin Islands, and these are part of the United States, and they deserve just as much aid and support from the federal government as Texas and as Florida does. You know, just because they can't vote in a presidential election and they're kind of marginalized, that they need the support more than anyone. So I'm really worried about those, you know, USVI in particular, where it just seems to have been hit so hard right now.
And Puerto Rico,
yes.
and
oh my gosh,
St. Thomas and Barbudas. I think I'm pronouncing it wrong. And then of course there's still Jose out there. If you watched any of the projections on him, he's just gonna. It looks like he's gonna do loop-de-loops out there, and there's still potential that he could come towards and re-hit these islands, or
yes.
You know, it is just heartbreaking. And then of course you got Mexico had a major earthquake and a tsunami. You have another hurricane that hit down in Mexico. You got the
you got fires.
I am determined Mother Nature is going through menopause or something right now.
Pissed off at us.
I don't know.
Time. Oh man.
And then of course, Houston is going through Hurricane Harvey, and you know all the efforts there are you know the focus is now shifted to Irma, and I mean the people still there. Dealing with major stuff, and it's overwhelming when you think about it all. And so, no, we're not having a pity party for ourselves.
No,
we will be
okay.
We
We are very fortunate compared to so many people.
There's been a lot of questions I've seen in the chat about do we have insurance on the boat, and yes, we do. We remember when we financed the boat, if you remember. So we had to have full coverage insurance on it. Now, how good of insurance it is, we will be seeing. We'll probably be seeing. So you know. Our risks we're very blessed, and we will be okay. You know, we're already plotting, you know, okay, we've got a self-contained bus. There's going to be a lot of need afterwards is how can we volunteer our time down in Florida and utilize this. And so we'll see. We've had a couple people contact us asking if they could start crowdfunding campaigns for us. Please,
there'll be a lot of people who need crowdfunding campaigns more than us.
There will be far more people in far more need than us.
Yes.
We do not consider ourselves in need. What we appreciate and want from our community is just support, positive thoughts, and good thinking.
Yes,
and we want you to support others who are more greatly impacted than us.
Right. It's this is a hard time. Of course, we're stressed. But we're doing good. We're doing good overall, considering everything here. There's other people who need support and who have lost everything, and we encourage, if you don't crowdfund us, please don't crowdfund us. Find people who actually need it, and Anything else popping up in the chat?
People just saying, get a new boat, and even if it's too soon to know what we would do in replacing the boat. That is too far off. There's too much to deal with, and there's gonna be a lot of boats lost in this, and finding a good quality boat after this, there's gonna be high demand, and it's too soon to think about that. First of all, we need to see if why not's even salvageable,
and deal with the insurance. There's many more steps before we get to
buy a new boat,
buy the replacement boat, figure out our plan.
If we need to buy a replacement boat, as Joe so kindly reminds us, it's not known gone yet. But
right, no, and there are plenty of cases where boats kind of miraculously survive storms, and there are plenty of cases where small storms take out boats. So we will cross those bridges when we are anxiously awaiting any sort of word, just a picture, an update from somebody who can get on the ground, in the air,
just to know, yes or no.
We just wanted to know, is it there or not? But we're figuring out the plan is for later.
Yes, and you can't. Knowing that a hammer is going to hit your toe doesn't make it hurt less. But we are as prepared as we can be for either answer. I do want to reiterate, when you're talking with people that are in the midst of this, whether it's friends, family, or whatever, and you're from afar, while there are no truer words than stuff can be replaced, lives can't. At this moment, as everyone is on pins and needles waiting for answers or knowing, the stuff they left behind is not yet stuff or possessions. It is still homes. It is still dreams. It is still things they have themselves emotionally invested in.
You're not reassuring anybody by telling them it's just stuff. Don't worry about it.
It's not the comforting words to be heard. Yes, they are true, and that factors greatly into our own planning in this. Please do have some compassion that right at this moment people are dealing with loss and unknown and fear and stress, and just you don't need to reassure them with the it's just stuff type conversation. That is for much later. Right now it's just like, time for a hug, time for support, time for cheering them on. Don't don't come in with the pessimistic crashness that we've had pop. We try to delete the comments as quickly as they come up of like, oh, you were so screwed. I'm like, we don't need to hear that right now. Nobody needs to hear that right now. We know the real reality of what we're into. And someone actually made the comment of, I just don't understand it. Nomads always seek 70 degree weather and stuff like that. It's like, no, they don't. Not every nomad is the same. And the adventure doesn't always take you to the most optimal situations. And I'm seeing we have a very bad connection, so we may be not having enough bandwidth to continue this.
I did see questions of where we are. We explained this yesterday's video. We evacuated to Summerdale, Alabama, where the Escapees Rainbow Park is.
A lot of evacuees here. Currently, we are only projected to get maybe 20-25 hours of wind. That is still holding. We're not having any storm surges predicted here.
We are out of the zone.
So we're probably going to stay put here. We did get naps this afternoon, morning.
Yeah, I couldn't sleep. I literally did not sleep a wink last night. But once the live stream went down, it was actually all that exhaustion hit me. I could not sleep while I was still able to watch the boat, and once I couldn't do it at all. It was ripped away from me. I fell asleep like a log for an hour. So,
one says they're in Clearwater, and it's not bad at all.
Not yet.
It's the storm's down in Naples, so
yes. Oh goodness, yeah.
You got a couple hours before you get to see what it's like.
And brace yourself. Seeing the footage in Naples and Marco Island. Oh my gosh, Marco Island is wonderful, and they're getting toasted right now. Scary times. And hopefully by the time it gets to Clearwater, because it's going ashore now, it's officially ashore, so that's going to start sucking the energy out of the storm, and maybe Tampa area will be spared, which would be good, I guess. But it's somebody's always going to be on the short end of the stick.
Yeah, so it's not going to be that bad. I've been here all my life. Well, this is a very unique, different storm. Yeah. So we'll see what the aftermath is. Yeah. But
certainly in Marathon, it's the storms like this they have their areas of impact, and people just 20 miles in another direction might be, oh, that wasn't such a big deal. But the areas where entire neighborhoods are wiped out, these hurricanes are huge impacts, and this is one of the biggest, just as far as overall scale. Fortunately, Cuba depowered it quite a bit, so the winds haven't been so bad.
Yeah,
we'll see. Hopefully, the storm surge, the projections have been dropping a little bit, but the storm surge has still got the potential to be disastrous.
Yep. Looks like in Marathon originally they were projecting like 175 to 80 mile per hour winds, which that's like rip the skin off your bones type. But I think we only saw gusts up to maybe 120 this morning.
Something like that, yes.
And so definitely reduced power, definitely a good thing. But we wait for first news of why not of Marathon, hearing from people there. So
and right now we are just, our thoughts are with our friends who are still in the storm's path. We got friends in Fort Myers who are hunkered down right now, and fingers are crossed. Okay,
I think
so. Yeah, we need to go find our rivaling friends here and try to.
Yes, I think Geeks on Tour were gonna come. They decided to flee Gainesville, so I think they're gonna be showing up here any moment.
And anyway, so apparently people really appreciate seeing these updates, and so we're happy to share. And what's up with us and where we're thinking and what's up, and you guys all take care of yourselves. And yes, see ya.